What's going on YouTube? Today's video we do have two different reverse osmosis water filtration systems that we're going to go ahead and compare against. First up we have Dreo's very first RO system, and this one is really good actually. So it's meant to be very competitive, very well thought out, as well as being very user friendly when it comes to like changing out filters, cleaning stuff. They want to make it as easy as possible, which is what Dreo is pretty much known for. They're also making it as elegant looking as possible, which is also what Dreo is known for. On the other side, we do have one of the most popular brands for countertop versions. This is the Bluevua RO100 RO pot filter. This one has like 4 different tanks or filters that you do have to replace, which are on the side. And you can see this one looks a little bigger, but it's about the same size. It is a little taller, roughly basically the same exact size as the other version. These ones have very similar tank sizes as well. However, this version here only gets about 1 full use that you have to do before you actually have to switch it out. So this version doesn't really have a good pure to drain ratio. This one is a 2-to-1, whereas the Dreo is a 3-to-1. So you're getting more water purified that you're able to use with the Dreo rather than the Bluevua. The Bluevua retails for $299, whereas the Dreo retails for $270 MSRP. Not including any sales, not including any coupons. Usually you'll find Dreos closer to the 200 flat mark, or 230 roughly. When it comes to the annual cost and maintenance, let's go ahead and break that down. So the Bluevua has a 1-year set that you can get for, annually changing that one out. That's about $89.97. That one you have to buy pretty much once a year. But the 4th filter, which is the most expensive filter, that one retails for about $60 to $70 on its own. Or you can buy the 4-pack for $150. You'll save money a little bit that way, or just buy it all up front. So $150, let's just say, per year. You also do have your remineralization filters as well, which this one does have it included. They both have them included. This one retails for about $20, or you can get the 2-pack for $33.99. So if you want to include that one in there as well, that's 6-month usage and, basically $33 every year. That's if you keep up with it, So the annual cost for that included, you're looking at about $180, $180 to $190, worst case scenario, per year. That is super expensive for the Bluevua. When it comes to the Dreo, the reason why it's highly competitive is because it's a lot cheaper. So the Dreo filters are $40 for the RO filter, which is pretty much half the cost of the Bluevua, and you replace that every 2 years. The PPC filter, which is $30, you replace that every year. So even worst case scenario, that's still $70 per year, whereas the Bluevua is like $150. The carbon filter that this one comes with is a $10 per 6 months, so about $20 per year, whereas the other one is about $34. So it's still beating it when it comes to that. The Bluevua has a 5-stage filtration, including the remineralization filter. The Dreo has a 7-stage filtration system as well. Now the speed on both of these is really quick. I honestly think this one might be a little bit faster just because it has a bigger tank and it's about to finish in about the same exact time. It looks faster, but both are very, very similar, and let's break that down for both of the times. So right here we have both of them side by side with both timers going active at the same exact time. Now as soon as we pressed it, we did 2 different tests. We pressed it first with the button and then once it started dripping. Very, very similar. It was probably like a 20 to 30 second difference, but nonetheless, this one finished in about 5 minutes for the Bluevua. The Dreo always finished around 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So it's about a minute more, but you're getting a little bit more when it comes to the Bluevua because it has a bigger, pitcher size, whereas the Dreo doesn't have as big as a pitcher size. However, when it comes to speed, I want to give the point to Dreo because it is way faster when it comes to that. Dreo has a 330 to 360 milliliter a minute speed, whereas the Bluevua has a slightly lower one at 300. Now when it comes to the options for this device, the Bluevua has 3 different dispensing sizes, like a 1/4 tank, a 1/3, 75%, and 100%. So if you're worried to be filling up like a water bottle or a tumbler or a Stanley in there, it'll be a little bit harder to actually justify where you're supposed to stop it. When it comes to the Dreo, obviously it doesn't fit a huge Stanley there, so that's a downside to that one. You have to pretty much only fit cups. You can always just use the pitcher. That one does have ounce sizes, so it has a 6, has an 8, 12, 16 ounce, etc., which is really, really helpful. So that's a really good pro on Dreo's end. Both show the TDS real-time pre and post, and both of them do show the filter for the life on all the filters. I do like the display on Dreo's end because it shows a lot more. It's a lot more intuitive. It looks nicer and cleaner. This one looks just older and cheap, and these buttons just aren't it for me. I don't like the fact that this one takes a while for it to stop. When you press stop, it'll still probably drip a little bit, whereas Dreo pretty much stops instantaneously and you don't have to worry about spills as much as opposed to the Bluevua. When it comes to the filtration, the TDS on the pre-filter is higher on the RO version, the RO Pot 100. This one said reads 355, whereas Dreo reads around 255 or 250, somewhere around there. So they're both giving different readings. Not too sure which one's as accurate, but we did do a separate test on the TDS filter, which was more closer to Dreo's actual rating rather than the RO Pot version. I also do like the fact that Dreo does have a light when it comes to dispensing their water, whereas the RO version does not have any light whatsoever, so you can't really see how much water you're filling up if you decide to use a cup or a mug or something like that. You can't really see where you're at, especially if you're at night, which you usually do use this at night anyways, so it's smart that Dreo went that route. Both of these don't have gasket mounts, so like little O-rings or anything. Dreo mentioned a really smart idea that I didn't even realize. It's because those little things are hard to clean. So the reason why they didn't include gaskets or tighter seals on like this part is because it's harder to clean for the user, and they want to make it as cleanly and easily operated as possible without any headaches or anything. So that's where that came into play, and it does make sense. And I don't have any issues when it comes to that. It was kind of just a personal preference. Yeah, no, Dreo did a good job when it comes to that. I do want to see a version where they can actually just change the whole docking system. Like, I like the idea, but I want to be able to have bigger cups, bigger stuff here, similar to the Bluevua. Like for the Bluevua, I don't have to have anything right here. I could always just put a cup here or something else right here and I'll be fine. So with all that being said, the annual cost when it comes to maintenance, design, speed, and performance of these two reverse osmosis water systems, it's very, very abundantly clear that both of these have both pros and cons when it comes to them. Obviously, some of the Dreo stuff I would take into the Bluevua, and some of the Bluevua I would take into consideration to the Dreo. This is Dreo's very first one though, so they did a really good job when it came to that. They listened to the community, they listened to a bunch of stuff that may be an issue for some people and make it easier as possible when it comes to the consumers. So Dreo, you just did a really good job. Bluevua, obviously you guys are way well known into this field, so you guys are doing a really good job as well. So at that point, since they're very, very close when it comes to performance, when it comes to usage and everything, it's pretty much up to your personal preference on which one to pick. In my opinion, but the Dreo is the one I always have in my room, and I just switch it off back and forth, so this is the one that I just use the most. I do like the docking little station, but I wish it was like just that portion or something. You know, like you could just pour it out from there. I don't know. I really don't know. If Dreo makes the second version and they make improvements, I don't know how they want to do it. I'll hopefully get to check that one out. And you guys will see a later review, like a 6-month or a year review on this unit, so don't worry. Without further ado, if you guys want to check this out, link is in the description to buy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We out.